Good morning to everybody. How you doing? Hope all is well. Keep up the beautiful work. Today is Friday, Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Parashat Tetzaveh Zachor. We're continuing the holy words of the Pele Yoetz. We are in the letter Chet in the subject of Harata, regretting. What is the rabbi referring to? We'll see momentarily. Bezrat Hashem. We are on page Resh Nun Chet in the Hebrew book 258. 58 is a good number. Noach. V'Noach matzachem be'enei Hashem. When someone is easygoing, not only the tzaddik Noach, when someone is easygoing, then they find favor in the eyes of Hashem. In the Hebrew English Art Scroll, we are on page 275. Ikara teshuvah hi hacharata. The most important part of repenting is having regret, feeling bad for what you did. Shidharet ama she'asa shelo kohogen. That a person should regret on what they did that was improper. Kemi shivitharet al sheharag beno yechido. It's a little of a drastic parable, but if the rabbi brings it, we got to read it. We should all live and be well. If someone, God forbid, 1,000,000 times kills their own child, b'ka'aso o b'shichruto, out of anger or out of being drunk, whatever's in his power, if he was able to revive him, obviously he would do everything. The way he regrets that, that's how a person should regret, God forbid, sinning. Even wicked people at the end of the day, they also have regret. Anyone who does a sin, obviously, right afterwards, they regret it. How come? Because the Yetzer Hara leaves him alone for a second. He got him to do what he wanted, and now that's it. The second he sins, he leaves him for that moment, and the person thinks, what in heaven's name did I do? In heaven, there was a story, the Chachamim went up to heaven. It's a whole Gemara and Chagigah. And unfortunately, one of the rabbis who went up there, to begin with, there was some DNA that wasn't the greatest. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, when his mother was expecting him, she used to go to the places of idol worship and smell the sacrifices. She liked the smell of a good steak, nice Kentucky Fried Chicken. She's smelling it in, and she was expecting him. Now, it wasn't just a matter of not kosher, it was for idol worship, which is also prohibited to have benefit. Right? If someone goes by KFC and he wants to smell something, right? It smells good. You don't have to put duct tape over your nose, right? The only time you can't sit there inhaling and smelling is Passover time, believe it or not. Because on Passover, you're not allowed to have benefit from Hametz, and smelling is considered benefit. However, idol worship is the same thing. But throughout the year, if someone goes by, it's not the end of the world. And she was doing it, and that already made his DNA tainted. And when they went up to heaven, unfortunately, he saw things that he questioned, and he said, if there's questions in heaven, he's going off, and he went off the path. Unfortunately, his name was Acher. That was his new name. Elisha ben Avuya, that was his real name beforehand, and then he went off the path. And unfortunately, Rabbi Meir used to learn Torah from him and eat the seed, the pomegranate, and throw out the shell. Meaning he only took the good without the bad. But the rabbis weren't too fond of that either. They used to call him Acherim. They nicknamed Rabbi Meir because he learned from Acher. Long story short, unfortunately, when he went up, what did he see? There are no mistakes in heaven. So why is he saying he saw a mistake? Believe it or not, there are, everyone has their report card in heaven. He saw them write something in heaven, and then they erased it and rewrote it. And he said if it needs to be rewritten and erased, that means there's mistakes in heaven. What happened? And that's why he did what he did. But what was that they erased something and rewrote it? The answer is because someone sinned and they wrote it down, but right after the sin, He goes, oof, why in heaven's name did I do that? He had regret, and because he had regret, the severity of the sin that he did wasn't as bad. So they erased it and rewrote it, and therefore it wasn't a mistake. They changed the sin that he had. Instead of giving him a red X, they gave him a black X or whatever it may have been, because the sin wasn't as bad, because that's the beginning of the teshuvah. And even a wicked person, after they do something, they regret it. Shetekef sha'asa davar shelo kahogen v'halach mimeno hayetzer hara. Right when he does something that he's not supposed to, and the yetzer hara runs away, tekef mitharet me'ad. He says, what did I do? Ve'omer halavai shelo asiti. I wish I did not do it. Yoter tov haya ki'ilu gam achshav hu tov. Obviously, the best case scenario would be that a person should regret doing it beforehand. In the old days in school, when you were allowed to yell at a kid, today the kid yells at the teacher, right? It's a whole different world. They're walking around, having a party. When there's vacation, when I teach in Wisconsin, obviously not in our community, but when there's vacation, I tell the kids, I'm sorry that when you're with your family, you're going to have to listen to rules. Your mom's going to say things, you're going to get yelled at, pick that up, do this. But in school, you're a free bird. But thank God in our community, the tuition money is going to good use. Everybody's following rules and doing what they're supposed to. But when a kid cries, and after they made trouble, I tell them you should have cried beforehand instead of crying afterwards. Obviously, it would be much better if a person regretted, meaning had feelings not to do it beforehand. Right? Because we had such a powerful yetzer hara, and he makes a person say to themselves, what's the big deal? I mean, really, you look how good you are, look how this, look how that. So if you do one little infraction, it's not the end of the world. And he makes a person think that the sin isn't so bad. When God created man, he gave him the evil inclination. The evil inclination makes a person think that that's no big deal to do that, no big deal to do that. But the second the sin is over, when they realized how bad it really was, and also the evil inclination, the yetzer hara, leaves him for a moment, then he realizes, Uli, what did I do? Rak lashon miyut, v'zeh gam ken hu kishiyesh bo lachluchit shel chiyut shelo nishka kol kach b'ota avera. Rule of thumb is we have to know that we always have to be on our toes, and we don't want to be put into a situation where we're going to say, I wish I didn't do that. We think beforehand that it's very bad to do whatever it might be. Obviously, no one we know does any sins. No one around here does any sins. But far away in Neverland, you have people, unfortunately, that takes the rabbi's spot in synagogue. Just kidding, that they might do something wrong. And by learning the rabbi's words, we keep on our toes, and Bezrat Hashem, everyone will pass the finishing line with flying colors and good things always. Shabbat Shalom, Sorot Tovot, Yishuot V'Nehamot.